All right, now that we know about our drawing aids and how to use them, let's start designing things, or at least let's start exploring some of these tools so we can start designing things. Right now, what I want you to do is I want you to have a look at what I do first, then pause the video and follow along so you get used to using the tools and how they function. First off, I want to start by creating a couple of reference points. Now, creating reference points are very, very handy, specifically if you want to have your design work around a central point or a specific area. So it's easy to start coming back to those points while you design or as you design as a specific reference. So I'm going to maximize my top viewport here so we can see better what's going on. And I'm going to go up here in my toolbar to the single point or the multi-point tool. Now, the single point and the multi-point tool are going to do exactly the same thing. The multi-point tool is just going to do it multiple times. So I'm going to select the multi-point tool. And over here on my grid, I'm going to make sure my grid snap is on. I'm going to make sure my ortho is on. And I don't really need any of my drawing aids right now. I'm going to make a bunch of points to start off with. So I'm going to make a point there. And about 20 millimeters on over there, I'm going to make another point. I'm going to do that again over here. Oh, no, I don't like that one. I want to keep it on the grid line. Oh, you know what? While I'm at it, I might as well show you the copy tool. Traditionally, you can just use the keyboard shortcut. So Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste, and you can drag the new copy down. But the tricky part of doing this is I'm going to hit Control-Z, which is undo. I now have 2 points on top of each other, but it's hard to see that you have 2 points on top of each other. So using Control-C and Control-V kind of makes life a little bit tricky because it's hard to spot when you make mistakes. So I'm going to say Control-Z, and it'll say undoing paste. That's exactly what I wanted to do. So there we go. I only have one set of points. I'm going to use my copy tool, which is right over here. Underneath next to the move tool is my copy tool. So I'm going to select the copy tool. In my command line, it'll tell me select objects to copy. So I'm going to drag out both those points. And now it says press enter when done. So I can either press enter or right click. I'm going to right click. Now it says point to copy from. I'm going to copy from, you can click literally anywhere, but I'm going to click on that point there. And now it says point to copy to. Okay, cool. So I'm going to click there, and I'm going to click there, and I'm going to click there. And you see it keeps duplicating, and it'll keep doing that until you're done. So you can press enter when done or right click. So I'm going to right click. So I have this selection of points there. I want you to go ahead and pause the video now and make a set of points exactly like that. All right. Okay, so you have a set of points like I do. Now I want us to explore a little bit with our curve tools. Firstly, we're going to start off by using our polyline tool. And I'm going to make sure under my drawing aids, my point snap is active. That'll allow me to snap to this point, snap to that point, snap to this point, and snap to that point. Pretty simple, right? If we want to draw fairly boring geometric shapes, our polyline tool is very handy for this. But sometimes we want to be slightly more creative than that. Then I'm going to delete that tool there, or that line there. I'm going to look next to my polyline tool is another selection of curve tools. But I specifically want to focus today on the curve, the control point curve tool, which is the first one, and then the curve and interpolate points tool, which is right next to it. So I'm going to select the control point curve tool first. If I select that, I'll snap to the point again, snap to that point. Now you'll see as I snap to that point and the next one and the next one, it actually uses those points as a guide, but it doesn't run through them. It starts on the first one I clicked, starts on the last one I clicked, but it doesn't run through the 2 intermediary points that I also clicked on. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to choose the curve, the control point curve tool. I'm going to start on the first one, click there, and click there. So you see it uses those points as a guide, but doesn't run through them. Now, the curve and interpolate points tool, which is right next to it, does a slightly different job. It'll run through those points exactly as you design them. So I'm going to click on the first one, and that one, and that one, and that one. And you'll see I clicked on the same points, but I get a much more aggressive, much more wavy shape than I did before. Now, also, while I'm busy with this, you'll see that if you select a curve, you also see the points that define its shape. So if you want to edit the shape afterwards, you can simply click on it and then click on those curves to alter the shape afterwards. Now you'll see my ortho is on, so I can only move in 45-degree angles from my original reference point, but I can change the shape afterwards if I wanted to, if I wasn't happy with the original. So that's the big difference between the control point curve and the curve interpolate points tool, is we use the same points, but we get a completely different result from them. All right. Now, I'm going to delete those, and I want to show you a different set of tools, specifically the arc tools, which I'll find over here. Underneath the first one, you'll see there's a triangle underneath it. I'll click that, and you'll see I also have a selection of arc tools. Now, I'm going to run through those quickly just to illustrate how they work, because they are very handy, and each has their own specific purpose. So the very first one is the arc, center, start and angle. So I'm going to click on, it says center of arc. I'm going to click on this point there. Now it says start of arc. I'm going to use that first reference point there. And now it says end of angle. Now I can drag out to there, and it creates an arc exactly as I drew it. Now that, in contrast to the next tool, which is the arc, end, point, and point on arc. So I'm going to click on the first one. I'm going to click on that second point, and you'll see now I can draw out and draw or define the same arc point if I wanted to. But you'll also see my ortho is on, so it limits where I can place that arc. Now I can either go and click on ortho and turn it off, so I can define my shape a little bit better, but there's a keyboard shortcut for that, which is very handy. As I draw this, if I hold down the shift key, it temporarily, you'll see it down there, it temporarily disables my ortho. So I'm going to let go of shift, ortho is active. I hold down shift, ortho is deactivated. So it's a keyboard shortcut for turning on and off ortho as you work, which is really handy. All right, so that's the second arc tool. And our third arc tool is the arc, start, end, and direction at start. So we can click there on that point, there on this point, and you'll see again my 45-degree ortho limits a little bit how I draw these arcs, but you can see how this tool is reacting. If I hold down shift, I can do finer adjustments for what that arc will do. And there we go. I click to apply that arc. And then our last one is the arc, start, end, and radius. So I'm going to click here, click there, and you can now define the radius in and outwards. So it's very similar to that second tool. So those are my arc tools. Now they are very, very handy if I want to connect two lines. I'll use the polyline tool. I'll just draw a line out here, and I'll draw a line out here. And I can now connect these two with an arc if I wanted to. In this instance, I'm going to use the arc, start, end, and point on arc. So from that end, snap to it, snap to this end, and I can now draw an arc that connects those two. Nice and simple. All right, so those are your two tools for drawing straight lines, drawing wavy lines, and drawing arcs. Those are very, very handy. Now, often we want to start with a more defined shape. We could do that by using either our circle tools or an ellipse tool. Now, a circle and an ellipse are very, very similar. A circle is just exactly what it says it is. So I'm going to use my circle, centered radius tool. In my command line, it says center of circle. Nice and simple. And as I drag out now, you'll see I have options for defining my circle if I wanted to. But by default, you define the radius of your circle. So the distance from the center to the furthest point out. You can change that by clicking on the word up there. So if you want to define the diameter, you click on the word diameter, and you can define the diameter. Now, interestingly enough here, you can type in any value you want. So let's say you want a circle with a diameter of 20 millimeters. As I draw the circle out, I can simply type in on my keypad 20 and hit enter. And I'll get a circle with a diameter, with a radius, diameter, I apologize, of 20 millimeters. I can confirm that by turning on my quad snap, using my measurement tools and snapping to the quad, and I see my circle is in fact 20 millimeters. I can do that to any size or shape I want. Now, I have a couple of different circle tools here, depending on what you want to do. There's a circle from center to diameter, but that differs slightly because I define where the quadrants are, not where the center is. Also a fairly handy tool to have. The difference with an ellipse is it's like a circle, but I can define two of the parameters. So I'm going to select this very first tool there, ellipse from center. It'll do the same thing. I define one radius out, but I can also define a second radius, like this. And again, there are quite a few different ellipse tools. You're welcome to go play with those. You'll figure out how they work fairly quickly because the command line is there to guide you. So like this one is the ellipse from diameter. So it says start of first axis. So let's say from that point there, end of first axis to there, and now I can define the second axis this way. So we have a couple of different ways of how to define those shapes if we wanted to. So those are circles and ellipses. And I quickly want to show you how to draw a rectangle while we're at it. I'm going to delete all of these really quickly. So over here, I have my rectangle tools. Again, quite a few different options. Rectangle corner to corner, rectangle from center to corner. But I want to show you again how we type in the values we want to define the sizes. I'm going to select the first one, which is rectangle corner to corner. So I can start anywhere if I wanted to. And I'm going to click. Now it says define the other corner of the rectangle. Now I drag out and I can click again. Well, that hasn't defined a specific size, so I'm going to do the same thing again. And now I type in the values I want. So let's say it'll always define the value from left to right first. That's the first value you enter. And then it'll define the value from top to bottom second. So I'm going to type in 30 and hit enter. And now I'm going to type in 20 and hit enter. And I've drawn a rectangle that is exactly 30 by 20. And this typing in the value you want works for all the tools. So whether you're drawing a polyline, or whether you're drawing a circle or an arc or a rectangle, you can type in the value you require and simply hit enter and it'll draw it to that size exactly. All right, so these are the basic curve tools for defining the shapes we want. In our next video, we'll see how we can have those curves interact to draw something more complex. All right, see you in the next one.